there's really no secret to how powerful spiritual manipulation is. Prosperity and abundance to everyone tuning in. I am Mrs.Melanin, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be back with you all. So today's topic is spiritual manipulation, And I have been waiting to speak on this topic probably for years now. I've been wanting to make videos about different characters after seeing how they use spiritual manipulation to really deceive people, hurt people. One of them being Nature Boy. You may not be familiar with Nature Boy, or you may be familiar with Nature Boy. Hopefully, you haven't come across those videos and you're not informed about the whole situation behind it. But not just Nature Boy, you have most recently the Dalai Lama. And I want to say before I get this video started that I mean no disrespect to anyone's culture or anyone's personal beliefs per se. However, I will speak freely about how I feel about this because I feel like it plays into this general theme of spiritual manipulation that we're starting to see. We've definitely had a great shift happening where you have more people becoming aware of the way that spiritual leaders of all sorts and kinds can really abuse their authority. And a lot of times their victims, not all the time, but a lot of the times their victims are young children. And so I wanted to talk about this topic today because it's been heavy on my spirit to just remind you to always go to the Most High directly. And I'm using the Most High. I say the Most High God, but you know that power I'm referring to. You know what power I'm referring to, okay? And it's important to go to and build your own relationship with the Most High because of things like this. As humans, we have certain natures to us, depending on how our childhood was, how our environment is, how much resources we acquire, how much healing we do or don't do. Um, a lot of those things play a part in who we are behind closed doors. We can be anything in front of a camera. We can be anything in the public eye. But behind closed door, that integrity that makes you check yourself, that makes you want to become better and know that you have to become better and start taking the steps even when it's hard. Knowing the ways in which you need to restrain yourself, things you need to work on, or things you feel like you do well. All of those things, if we don't sit down and really analyze ourselves, so many things can become of your own nature. I speak about it often how the world we live in typically guides most people towards a dysfunctional nature on so many different levels. And as we're starting to see the world connect to more of a one world government type of basis, and when I say government, I don't specifically even mean the government, but you're starting to see things like social media connect people in a way where it's completely different than we've had in the past, the most recent past, because the world has been through so many different phases. I want to include that. And so specifically, let's talk about the Dalai Lama because it was the most recent happening. One of the things that really bothered me is that when he kissed that little, or made the little boy suck his tongue, and he made him suck his tongue. I may include a clip, I may not include a clip, but he made the little boy suck his
suck my tongue and suck my tongue.
What bothered me the most about it is the fact that the adults in the room were laughing and giggling. Now, I do understand that you can get into a space where you're nervous and that impacts you in a way where you might nervous laugh and things of that nature. But what I think really took place in that room is that the adults were complacent because of the Dalai Lama's position. And also when that wool is pulled over your eyes, it's very powerful. And there's really no secret to how powerful spiritual manipulation is. We see so many, in fact, majority of those cults that you see on documentaries, you read about, or you see going on in real time. There is a spiritual undertone, there is a heavy spiritual undertone, and that leader or person in power always, almost always exploits it. It's one of those things where you have to constantly check yourself and make sure that you're tapped into your alignment with that source yourself. It's extremely important, especially for parents. You have to be spiritually equipped within yourself, and you cannot outsource that to any other person. It was very disturbing for me to see anyone, I don't care who it could be, do something like that. But for it to be so out in the open, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes about what goes on behind closed doors. That speaks volumes on how comfortable these people feel in these positions, especially as it pertains to children, but even adults. They see themselves larger than life. They see themselves as a person who has that type of finesse. They believe in their ability to finesse. This is why when you see people who prey on children and violate children, you see when you really get to know them, they are very confident in what they're doing because they know society is distracted. They know how to play on the senses, they know how to gain trust, and they know that with certain reputations, with a certain demeanor, you'll never care to think that that is something that they would do. And so while some people may say, well, and trust me, there are people who say that it may not be that big of a deal. It was just something, some people have tried to say it's like a cultural thing. It's nothing but perversion. The spirit of perversion. And the spirit of perversion loves to run rampant in spiritual leaders. They love to run rampant in people of power, period. And it's just very alarming to me to see the adults, like I said, in the room laughing about something like that. That would get me, I would be extremely outraged. And I didn't go too much further into the story per se, but I really just wanted to highlight that during these times, you really have to make sure that you are equipped to know that, you know, you have to build that relationship, and there's no shortcut. There's no being close to any spiritual leader or being the wife of any spiritual leader or sending your children around any spiritual leader. You have to build the relationship for yourself. There's no spell, there's no elixir that is going to give you a shortcut to being in alignment with that source. It's extremely important with the internet and all of the accessibility. You have all of these different people, self-proclaimed people, which I'm not knocking per se, but I am saying that when you are navigating the internet, when you and yours, especially your children, there has to be a line of defense and a line of discernment. And with our children, which I can't remember how reluctant, or I believe what I saw, the little boy felt awkward, and I could tell that the little boy pretty much did not like, his intuition was saying not to do that. But because of who the Dalai Lama is recognized as and how the Dalai Lama is treated, and the fact that he was doing it out in the open, it can't be that bad, right? And we know of so many different positions, boys clubs, stuff like that, where they teach young boys this is acceptable behavior. And there's a lot of molestation that goes on in regards to children in general. And you will see the unfolding of how it is impacting, is going to start impacting boys just as much as girls. Right now it pretty much, they it's not, it's not equal statistically, um and otherwise. You don't hear as many men saying that they've been touched or molested as much as you would women, and that's several different factors. One, is not equal yet, and I'm not hoping that it becomes equal or anything like that, but also men are very reluctant to tell, especially when it's by another man. So, but you're going to see, because there is a spirit roaming. So I hope you receive what I'm saying well right now. There's a spirit roaming that really, 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 in addition to the hunt for these young girls, there's a very strong hunt for these young boys. And we have to grow to a place where we are speaking openly about this, we're accepting it. I see in society, people want to have this like ideal, oh, most people are good people. And the thing is, it's not about a person being a good person. Is that person easily influenced? Is that person coming from a traumatized space? Is that person dealing with certain dysfunction? What spirits are operating through that person? Because even a good person can fall under the impression of different perversions. So it's just not enough to go with this most people are good people, or this gesture is, once I see something sexual towards a child, that gesture is not isolated. I don't care what anybody says. You'll never convince me. You only have one time to do anything inappropriate as it relates to children in a sexual way. It's not an isolated incident. And just moving forward to the topic at large, spiritual manipulation is heavy right now in all fronts, religious fronts, every single religious front, every single spiritual front. This is one of the main road bumps on your pathway as you awaken spiritually, as you become closer with the Most High God. This is one of the main stumbling blocks that you're going to come across. Spiritual manipulation on different levels. And it exists beyond the internet, it exists beyond social media, it exists in real life. And if we don't take it seriously enough to be proactive, to protect our children, to protect our community, to really keep those eyes of discernment open, don't let anybody close them. Don't give a person Don't give a person an opportunity at all if you can, but if you see something, don't allow that person around children ever again. It's not a game, because they will do it again, because that spirit is the worst spirit. It is the worst spirit. You've gone way far. You've gone the farthest that you could ever go when you start being inappropriate sexually with children. It is the most wicked spirit, and it comes with other spirits, a legion of other unclean spirits. So I hope that I have covered the topic to the best of my ability. If you like the video, please make sure that you like it, share it, save it, comment below what your views are, comment below what you are seeing, because this is very, very important. I will definitely be back with a part 2 so we can talk more about spiritual manipulation as it relates to religion, as it relates to divination, as it relates to those different sectors specifically. But I really wanted to use this as an opportunity just to let it be a warning that spiritual manipulation is at an all-time high. When you're navigating your spiritual journey, make sure you keep yourself connected with the original source, because people, we are all flawed. We can become fickle. We take wrong turns. We sometimes we're doing things that are great for our journey, but it's not necessarily great for the collective. And sometimes with social media, once again, it's so easy to share and to project that onto everybody, but we really have to have the discernment. So once again, drop below what your comments are, what your view is about this situation. I know I'm a little bit late, but I definitely wanted to talk about this topic, like I said, for quite some time because it is becoming more and more prevalent. I will talk to you guys on the next